Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I'll be your guide for today. It is the 23rd of December, early morning for Australia in Queensland. Yes, and I decided today we'll do something a bit exciting. I have 4 amazing objects here that I've collected in my reality of my life, and each of them have a crazy ass story that goes behind them. Each of them have kind of connected me to beyond this world, and yeah, so I thought I'd do a bit of a show and tell and yeah, share some of these stories. I always get excited when I'm around people that resonate with me and I can share some of these very unusual stories. So I thought I might as well do that with you guys today. Yeah, so I don't know how far we're going to go with these stories because some of them are quite long, and I'll try to keep to the actual story because you know how stories happen and then they intertwine with other stories, and then I have to bring myself back on track to what the actual story was, so we don't go too far out into another 100 stories that I have. But yeah, we'll do that. Now, just to recap, I am also an intuitive counselor. I'm a psychic reader, and I have my details below. So this is restreamed. This is going out to my Facebook page plus my YouTube page. Hey, Matthew. Hi again. And I'm also a creator of fortune dies. So these are my fortune dies. Come in a little box, a little book, a little bag. See, so it's easy to carry around, and you can just throw these three dice that are 0 to 9 for the numerology dice, and then my creative New Earth dice that I've created all the pictures for. Yeah, so that's for sale on Etsy, as well as my 2 books, which I will bring out one day. I keep forgetting to bring them out, but Jonah and Kitty, The Timekeeper's Void and Imagine Holding Hands are children's books, so go visit them. They're really amazing, and amazing things happened when I actually created those books too. So let's get into some of these stories, hey? Pretty excited. Where do I start? Oh, very excited. Okay, let's start with these 4. This happened when I was over in Ohio. I met a Cherokee elder, and well, she actually met me. This is after I was getting a lot of visions, and I asked my guides to meet someone of high integrity that was actually living to help me with these visions. Visions, I mean actually get visitations from beings and objects and stuff that were trying to teach me things, and hearing things very loudly that other people couldn't hear. So really living in 2 worlds. And I was like, oh my God, I a little bit overwhelmed and wanted somebody to help me. So through a crazy synchronicity of going the other side of Brisbane, meeting another lady called Rose, who ended up sitting us all on the table. She was doing a talk, and in that table there was another lady who was sitting next to me who happened to live right next to me, even though we were on the other side of Brisbane. And she introduced me to the fact that this lady, Grandmother Pressure, was coming from Ohio. And then I ended up going to see her because she said, I think you should. So I ended up in Byron Bay, and she actually came up to me straight up and talked to me, and I didn't know it was the elder at the time. She's part Cherokee and part Irish, and she was born a lot whiter than everybody else, but amazing lady, amazing magic. Anyway, ended up in Ohio, was doing sun dances and vision quests over there. Now, when I was there, I noticed like there was a couple of stories that are really amazing that happened over there, but in her driveway, she had this very long driveway, a lot of land, right? And the driveway was just ordinary, gravel stone just normal gravel stone. But I noticed that there was these circles, these patches on the driveway, and they were like just like big circles, and they were a different colored stone. And I said to her, you know, if I hadn't have taken these, I'd start to think, did I imagine that? Because it doesn't even sound right. But I said to her, what's with the different colored patches of stone on your driveway? And she said, funny you ask about that. That's where the principal people landed, and they alchemized the stone. So she was talking about the actual ships, the actual, or the light orbs or whatever, or the intensity of the beings from other higher realms that were landing in her driveway. And whenever they landed, whether it be the foot of the ship, I don't know, or the orb itself that came, it alchemized these stones, these little rocks, into different colors that were different to the normal grey stones. So they were all the same shape, all different shapes, obviously, but all the same size. And you could tell they were just being alchemized. So I'll show you a couple of these. They're very, very different. So that's one. Hopefully you guys can see that really clearly. And see, it's even shiny. This is what it was like on the actual, oh, my nails are terrible on that side. Oh, whatever. Yeah, should have done my nails before I did this. Yeah, so that's another one. I actually picked up 4. See how shiny they are? They're very alchemized. It was like the intensity of the actual normal grey stones turned into this shiny green. Yeah, really cool. I have had people who are into crystals and that look at them and go, oh, not really sure what they are. And this is a different one. There was only 1 or 2 like this that was like even more alchemized. And I don't know if you can see, you probably can't in this light, but it actually shimmers a rainbow effect on that side. Yeah, so even more alchemized from the heat or from the different frequencies of the beings touching earth, yeah, or the ship or something. So yes, that's them. It was yeah, I just thought if I grab 4 of them, they're only grey stones in your driveway that had changed colour. If I just grab 4 of them, take them home, I actually have had them with me ever since. So that's the first story. She also, yeah, thanks, Matthew. She also had a really amazing thing that was like a stone slab, and it was really huge. It was made out of like a stone or granite, and it had this really incredible, different, like almost writing I've never seen engraved into it, like lines of this writing on this huge slab stone. And it was really important. And she said that she, when she first got it, only had a few lines of writing, and then they do ceremony and it would have a few more. And this writing was like engraved into it. And it was really, writing that I've never seen before. Really, really, really interesting. So there was a couple of really cool stories that came out of that trip. Saw a rainbow last night at 7 p.m. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next story. Now, I know that you guys have probably heard this story before, so I'm not going to go over the story in much detail, but I did bring it up in my other video that was with Joe, I think it was with Joe that I brought it up. So go have a look on my channel and you'll see the actual story of this one. But just a quick summary, I was out camping. I asked the universe, God, whatever, are we going to be able to create this new frequency, this new earth that I've been shown on Earth? Give me a sign. And this huge rainbow appeared. Nice that you actually brought up rainbows, Matt. Yeah, a huge rainbow appeared, and I could see the end of it across the way of the river. So later on that afternoon, went across with my family and a friend, and the friend came up to me and said, I think you're looking for this, because I knew that it was something underneath the rainbow. And he handed me this grey stone that was rectangle in shape. Yeah, so I had it in my glove box for about a year, and then my daughter said, why don't you meditate with it? Meditated with it, and the weirdest experience happened where it was like a funnel of sound and light was like sucking motion out of my ear. It was the very strange, very real experience. And then the stone was put in my mind, and it was rotating like this. And then every time I had a dream, it would tell me the truth. So I've called it my truth stone. And it did crack, it did break. And when the earthquakes happened in my hometown of, around Christchurch area and in New Zealand, and that split into 1/3 to 2/3 then. So I've had to bound it up since, but I don't use it much anymore because I already learned that lesson of truth and guiding myself. Not that I don't get sucked in every now and then, but I can get myself out of, going down the wrong path way easier. I feel like I'm on a true path now, let's put it that way. So this is the stone. I don't know if you guys can see beyond the actual thing. So when I showed the elder, see there's like a rectangle, I can't do that backwards, rectangle and a rectangle there. And it has kind of like a fingerprinty feeling up here. And when I showed the elder, see it's both sides, rectangle on this side as well, within a rectangle. I don't know if you guys can see that in this light. Yeah, it's got like, so yeah. And it used to break in my dreams. And then it would have these telekinetic crystals, and it was igniting humanity. And I think that's coming. But yeah, it's interesting that it's split in two. And now I am on the path of teaching humanity, telepathy and bringing out gifts, new gifts for humanity, and sharing the fact that we are way more potential than what we think we are. Yeah. So, yeah, a little lighter. I think it's hard to see in that. Yeah, it's a little lighter rectangle inside the rectangle. Like I could pull it out. God, it takes me ages to get the whole thing back together again. It's a bit annoying, to tell you the truth. Oh, okay, it's coming out. And I'll show you the split so you can see the rectangle goes right through. See, it's split, a clean split. Yeah. And it's like 2/3 to 1/3, just like my dream that showed me that humanity was going to do this split, was going to happen between us. Yeah. So it's a very clean split. If I hold it up like that, you can't even tell that it's been split. And I believe it's a sign of what's going to happen to humanity. Yeah. I will try to put that back together later on. It'll probably take me an hour to get that back in. The other story, okay, I have is, yeah, I'll do this one next. So there was a group of people, and they, yeah, really unique, right? And really interesting. It really led me on a path. It took me on this really amazing path. I was pretty excited about that one when it started showing up in my dreams and telling me the truth and guiding me, really. Yeah, the elder said it doesn't look like it's come from here, does it? Anyways, so that was found in Kenilworth. If anyone knows where we are in Australia, in Kenilworth, I love camping there. The next story that I'm going to bring up is a group of friends of mine who were connected to a guy called Tom that lived in America, and he made Selenite swords, and these swords are very expensive, by the way. But what he did is he would carve out of selenite these swords, and then he went around the world. So he went to Lake Titicaca, went to all these spiritual places, and he gathered either dirt or water, and he put them in little tubes, and then he hollowed out the handle of the sword, and he would put the tube inside the sword, and so it held this vibration of these sacred places. And then he would psychically, intuitively wrap the handle in specific pictures or images. And so some of them were angels, some of them were like, Archangel Michael, some of them were fairy realm, and so forth. There was all sorts of different images that he would put in, but they were all like specifically for that sword and that energy. So my story is, I wasn't sure whether I was going to purchase one of these things. I said, if I'm supposed to take one, then guides, give me a sign, whatever. It's a lot of money, so I need to have at least some sort of sign. And I remember lying in bed, and then this flash, like, I don't know if you guys have had, like, I see things outside myself, but I also see these flashes, like very, very vivid images within my mind. And there's something that you just can't ignore. And I saw this flash of this kind of a ochre khaki color eye, and it was huge, and it had like the slit like a dragon's eye. So it was like a big dragon's eye just flash inside my mind. Yeah. You see flashes inside your mind, Matthew? Yeah, I see. Well, anyway, this was an image. So this one was an image. I do see flashes outside me too. But this was an image. And I went, whoa, that was huge. Okay, dragon's eye. That's interesting. Why would I have a dragon's eye in my mind? That's okay. So then I had a conference with this guy in America over something like Zoom. I don't know, some sort of platform. And he's like showing me these swords, and he had one that was unfinished. So it was just the shape of the sword. And I said, oh, I really like the shape of that sword. And he said, okay, well, that sword belongs to this. And he pulls out this stone that was going to be put onto the sword. And it was exactly the same color as the eye. And it almost looked like an eye. And I went, oh my God, that's the eye I saw, and it was a dragon's eye. And he said, well, funny you say that, because the sword that you've chosen, I've already put images of a dragon in the actual handle, on the, wrapped around the handle. So I'm like, okay, well, that's too big a sign now. We've got too many synchronicities happening here with that. So I thought I better purchase one. So when I purchased it, he said he's still got to put it all together, and then he'll post it off to me, right? Now, I was working as a volunteer person in the Shed to Light, beautiful place, shop that's in Mullaney, that actually gives all of the earnings to orphanages in Nepal. So I was working there voluntarily, and then I had all these customers come in, some serving customers, and all of a sudden, not knowing what was actually happening on the other side of the world when this sword was being put together, I had this, I couldn't stand up. I had like I thought I was going to faint. Like the whole reality started morphing, started going weird on me, and I couldn't, and I've never had this happen before. I'm not someone who normally faints, and especially not out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. So I said to the customers, can you go? You'll need to go. And I remember writing out the last receipt going, oh my God, am I even going to be able to write this? And I locked the door and I just lied on the ground for at least 20 minutes. And then I contacted Tom because I had a feeling something was going on with this sword, because it was all, you know, in the story and my reality at that moment. And I said to him, when were you putting it together? And we added up the times, and it was exactly when he was putting the sword together was exactly when I lost my whole world. And so what the sword does for me is it is very powerful. I have to be careful when I use it. If I do use it, it's always from love. It's always from my heart and for the benefit of everybody involved. But it can shift things. I have to be very careful. I don't want to disrupt the natural order of things, because when you come from a limited mind, you don't actually foresee and see over everything to shift everything. But it has shifted stories for my personal self. When things weren't going right, say for instance, I had a flatmate that was living with me, and it just wasn't feeling kosher anymore. You know, you could tell we were just butting heads, and I remember feeling like I've learned the lesson from this person, and I just hold the sword and go, I've learned the lesson. For the benefit of everyone, let this be over. And literally an hour later, or not even an hour later, the person, and this has happened a few times, the person will come up to me and say, you know what, I'm leaving, and I'm going back to my partner, or I'm going back to blah, blah, or I'm just leaving. And it's always left in a nice way. So this is the sword. Hey, Christian. So this is the sword with a stone now on it. So it's made out of selenite, and this is the dragon's eye. And inside this leather bounding is the dragons that are swirled around. And inside here, like that's a jasper stone, but inside here is a tube of Lake Titicaca and some other sacred places. Now, I know that there is a tube in there of something, because I had one of those apps on my phone that could tell if something was magnetized, and it would do make a sound. I actually got it from, I can see his face, but I can't remember his name. It was Greer. Anyway, he has this app where you make contact, and if there's anything that's kind of like a little bit magnetized or whatever, it tends to go off like a magnet or something. So every time I put it near the handle of the selenite sword, it just went off. So I know that there is definitely something in there that's not made of crystal or stone, you know, something else. So yeah. Matthew, wow, it looks similar to a dagger and a large selenite sword I've seen. Nice. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? So I love it. It's very powerful, and it's a protection sword for me. So that's how I see it anyway. Now that's another story. Another cool story we could go into. I think we have time, yeah. This is a crazy ass story. I don't even know if I'm going to do this story justice, because there's so many layers to this story. But there was a time, I think it was around 2006, and I don't know if you guys remember, but in my reality anyway, there was a lot of people. I didn't find this out till after. There was actually quite a few groups that were forming around the earth that were starting to create crystal grids around the earth. And nobody really knew why the groups were doing it, but we all were pulled to do this. And I had a massive pull to pull a group together. So I put out invitations to people that I knew and said, hey, do you want to get together? And we'll see where this all goes, where this group actually goes. So we used to get together and we used to meditate, and I knew that there was a place that was in a forest that we needed to go to, and it was actually in a natural, one of those natural, like council forest or something like that. we would just go with our lights on our heads and march through the, do not go past this sign after 7 o'clock. And we, really psychically pulled to go into the forest at night. And so we would go around this lake, and we traced the guy that was I'm kind of not really telling the story very well. There was a guy that I actually asked and invited in, and he said that he had a vision where this place was, that we were supposed to meditate. And at that time, there was all these massive amounts of butterflies coming from the place. He said it was where the fire touched the earth. And when we got there, there was a huge burnt out log where lightning had literally struck this tree down. And when we walked up the hill, there was grass, and the grass was like growing up to here, to my chest. And we're like going through it. And with first meditation we did, we all friggin' got, leached out, like ticked out. That's right. We all got ticked out. We all got ticks all over our heads and everything. It was like, oh my God, how are we going to go back to the spot that he had found? But then one of my other friends, who was psychic as well, she got a message to say spray lavender and water on you. So we did that. We sprayed lavender and water on us, and that worked a treat, honestly. If you don't want to get ticks all over you, if you're meditating in the wild, spray lavender and water on you. They hate it. So anyway, we were meditating there quite a bit, like once a week or once every 2 weeks or something. This whole big group had formed. And then I got a calling, and I got told to gather as many crystals as possible. And this was on a mountain. I won't name the mountain. I don't think I should name the mountain. Anyway, so you gathered a whole heap of crystals together. I had a lot of them anyway. And then I sorted them all out, female, male, female, male, female, male. I just sorted them all out. And then I just followed my own guidance. I was going to put in the center a cluster, and there was Atlantis crystals and everything in that. And then on the outside, there was like a ring of, I don't know, it was coming up, I think it was like 50. I have actually written this down, like 52 crystals or something around the outside. Then there was one that was stuck in the middle between the center and the outside ring, and then one further out from that. One was white and one was black. It was really interesting design. And there was one that I kept, and that one that I kept is the one that I'm going to show you, and that's connected to this crystal gridding that this whole group did. Now, the crazy ass story that happened with this was, you know how I said that the grass had grown up to here? Well, the next time we came, the grass was up to here. Like literally, we were like going through the grass like this, climbing up this hill, trying to get to this spot, and we're flattening down the grass. And it was just pinging back up. It was very, very tall, very long, and very strong, and really hard to pull out. Like it was fairly dry. If anyone knows Australia, it can get quite dry here. And I'm like, how are we supposed to plant these crystals in amongst, hey Sasha, in amongst, hey Samak, in amongst all this tall freaking grass, right? How are we supposed to do this? And they said, it's all right, it'll be cleared. That's what the message I got, it'll be cleared. So we walked up there this day to plant the crystals, and you would never have believed what I saw. It was, I can't even believe it now. This land was that we walked up, there was still the tall grass was everywhere. But when we got to the place where we actually literally meditated, it was cleared. There was no grass. It was gone. It was little tufts of grass, almost like, it wasn't even like something had landed there. It was just like, no, there was never any grass here. There was only little tufts of grass here. It was like it was like, and I've got photographs of us meditating on the grass, flattening this huge, long, friggin' tusks of grass that is just all there was. We're like lying in this haystack. And then to go back and see that it was just dirt, and it was just a circle of dirt. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? Like, how does this even happen? So we buried these crystals. And then I found out later, after meeting a guy called Dan Winters. Yeah, Dan Winters. I've met a few people on my journey, Dan Winters, David Icke, Max Am. Yeah, anyway. So it was really interesting. It was like a few weeks later, I woke up and I literally saw out of this crystal a light. It was a green light that came, it like shone out of the crystal, like it was shining and connecting to the crystal grid. And I believe there was a whole heap of us at that time that was crystal gridding around the earth in preparation for this time now. So there's an interest that's coming up with these crystal grids that are already put in place to help awaken Gaia and help connect humanity back to our original program. So this is, I actually called it Fatty. This is the crystal that I saw the light just shine out of this, and it's connected to this mountain in around this area of Brisbane area, where all these other crystals have been planted on this, what I would almost call sacred land. It was right next to a lake too. So that's another story. Yeah, so yeah, I know you guys haven't seen the other stories, but go back to the beginning of this video. We have the story of the alchemized stones that where actual beings landed and alchemized these stones. We have the story of my my truth stone that I found under a rainbow after asking whether humanity was going to actually create this beautiful new earth. And we have my Selenite Swords story as well. All of them have really amazing, really bizarre things that have happened. My whole life has been one bizarre moment after another after another. Yeah, so I'm so happy to see you guys. Yannicka, hey Smack, hey Shanti, so good to see you guys. Yeah, so that's all my stories for today. Probably going to have a whole heap more later. One day I might like really sit down and go over even more so some of those stories in a proper way, because that's like a skimming over and a show and tell kind of a thing, show and tell thing. So how about, since we got some more time, I'll pull some cards. I'll just take some water. I'll pull some cards and maybe do a bit of a general. Yo. Let's pull some cards. I love my animal shamanic cards. They're one of my favorites at the moment. There's something about animals and connected to Gaia. One of the next things I also want to bring up is I want to start a kind of a little bit of a series of these ascension messages where all we're doing is focusing on the new earth that we're going to be walking into, what that actually looks like, you know, outside the limitations of what we've been programmed to believe is our truth, and stepping into the reality of it all. Because I know that the powers to be are trying to match the real new earth frequency with holographic frequency, because they still want you to think that everything has to be outside yourself. But there is way way more coming our way and we're getting to the end of clearing our crap, right? Well, especially the light workers. And that's going to start bringing up all these new gifts. And it's taking that leap of faith into trusting. But once we do that, yeah, everything's going to change. So I'll just get rid of this person, block user on YouTube. And they're not even there, so. Okay, yeah, matter. Whatever. It's nothing, matters nothing on what we're going to step into. And it is a leap of faith. And that's what Spirit wants you to do. Spirit wants you to have faith in the guidance. So we're not supposed to know how this comes about in specific individual as a specific individual person, but it's more of trusting each step that we take towards love and light and our own supporting our own self and stuff like that. And then it will slowly start to happen. These things are going to change. Everything's going to start changing. We're literally going to start seeing Earth and Gaia in such a beautiful light that new colors are even going to come out because our frequency has changed to expand into these new frequencies which hold new colors. Literally a day later, one of my crystals slipped from my hand and split into similar ratio. Ooh, Christian, I should read your first ones. I had a synchronicity happen the other week, Bobbie, after listening to some of your videos where you shared about Truth Stone and how it split into 2/3 to 1/3. Well, go back to the beginning of this. So this is mine. This is the Truth Stone, and so yeah, it split into 2/3 to 1/3. See, you can see the rectangle within the rectangle very clearly there. It's a rectangle right through to the center. It's really hard to see in this light. But and the elder said that it's not really made from here. So that's my Truth Stone. But yeah, and so Christian goes, literally one day later, a crystal slipped from my hand and split. You know what? Those sort of synchronicities, Christian, are just acknowledgement of truth to me, because when that sort of thing has happened to me too, where I'm asking, is this for real? Is this the truth? And then boom, something will happen and it'll go, yes, it is. Something like that would happen to me. It will go, yes, it is. And yeah, that's how I do it anyway. You take it as you want. Sometimes you might need more confirmation or something, but that's so cool that that's happened to you. My rose quartz angel ended up breaking too. Oh, thanks, Matthew. Thanks for reporting that. Yay. I've got people on my side. I don't know how to make you guys into a spanner person. I've never done it before, and I'm going through 3 streams. I'm not even sure if I can. One day I might just do YouTube and sort all that stuff out. Let's get some cards out for the energy anyway. Sorry, I just backed that off a bit so I've got more room on my table. Ooh, that one flew out. Nice. Don't you love this? We got the, excuse my nails, by the way. This hand always ends up getting wrecked really fast because I use it so much. This hand, my nails grow so long. Anyway, Bison Abundance. Oh my God, how cool is that? See, this is what's coming. Sacred Buffalo, cloak me in your wisdom. Keep me warm through storms of life. Fill my life with goodness. Touch me in ways of gratitude and prayer. And also, I'm getting from this, because the bison are really connected to Gaia herself, to Earth. There's a similar energy from Gaia to the bisons, and that new Earth experience of being able to connect with her they're almost telling me go through the energy of bison to connect. It was one of the animals I saw when I had the prediction of Steve Irwin's death and went to his heaven. That's in another video as well, and did the painting. That was the other animal, was bison, and it was like so many of them. And I think that there's a very interesting energy that comes from them that we can gain a lot of wisdom from. I think what Gaia is really asking us to do is to feel into the animal life so that we can have even a broader sense of wisdom coming to us from her. Abundance comes from this wisdom, right? Once we start to get and realize the power of who we are as humanity, that we are the what's the name they're trying to, sometimes they give me energy and my brain needs to turn that information into the actual word. And so then I go, what was that word? Another guides, we're the caretakers, humanity's caretakers of all of these different energies. So we literally have the ability to feel into all the different energies. It's really cool. Pins and needles when you pulled that. Matthew, you're really on par, aren't you? Suzette, hey. So, squirrel, always prepared. You are the expert of hard work and hard play. Your cheerful and fun disposition is blessings to everyone. Don't let life distractions take you off course. Make a plan for the future and life will give you what you need. So, we're stepping into, we already are. I feel like we're all working towards this. We're moving, and we're doing, when I say work, it's not just physical work, right? We're also got that inner work where we're looking at our shadow selves. We're looking at where the actual program that was placed over us. What is our authentic self, and what is the program that was put over us? Sometimes it's hard work to move through that, where you think that you are, you need to react in a certain way, and that's your identity. And then you find out it was just a program and you have to clear it. That's hard work, right? So the preparations for what we're doing now, for where we're going, and being able to step into the abundance of this wisdom and connect to these different animals. Gaia really wants us to do this. These cards are just literally popping out without me even shuffling at the moment. Penguin, authenticity. Reach out to your tribe in times of need. Family gives you strength when you face a storm. Love your uniqueness. You are full of surprises. Break free from others and expectations. Just be yourself. And your uniqueness, love your uniqueness is going to actually bring you more into your authentic self, because you're starting to see the value in who you are as your authentic self, as your unique, who you, the way your mannerisms are, how you think. We've all got these special codes, pieces of the puzzle that when we connect to our tribe members, when we connect to each other, like you guys, even on these sites, on this, when we start connecting, we open up even more of each other and realize that each of us has a piece of the puzzle to create this step into this new frequency, or create the new earth, step into the new frequency. Really stepping away from, thanks Sumac, really stepping away from the old program of it has to be this way. If a majority of people do it, then we need to follow. No, that's not how our authenticity shines. Authentic means that we are an individual person and we can shine. And, it's not to say that we completely, this is a gradual process of stepping, of leaving the matrix, of leaving the program. But every time we step into more authentic of ourselves, the more we get a pull to go somewhere, to do something, to be with someone. And then that that starts to gravitate towards us, then we start learning that there are other people like us now, even on my site, that start to unify, and we start sharing our wisdom. Yeah, it is time to get rid of my anxiety barrier and streams myself, help getting pushed out myself. Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, Matthew, where it's almost like whenever I get the anxiety, I say, oh, the anxiety, I realize it's always come from my mind projecting into the future something that I don't really 100% know. That always helps me come back to the present moment. And then as soon as I come back to the present moment, the anxiety starts to fall away. You know, the heart palpitations, or the stomach going, or just that tenseness, or the jaw tensing up starts to go, oh, yeah, is anything happening right now? No. Do I know that 100% that that's going to happen? No. Even if something has happened outside yourself that you could be in fear of, if you bring it back to love, it's amazing what can actually shift and what can change in the world, that, you know, things didn't really happen the way you thought it did. It's kind of like, you know, when I went up to the hill, and here we are thinking, how am I going to plant these crystals with a tiny little friggin' troll shovel, and how's this even going to happen? And then to find out that reality had shifted for me to be able to plant the crystals, right? Anything can happen. This is our reality. We are starting to realize the power of ourselves, that we can create. And if we're starting to create from love instead of fear, step by step, we're creating more and more of this new world, this new authentic self that's going to be in a place or a space of divineness, where we feel no more anxiousness anymore, because we're completely present in the moment and trusting that presentness is guiding us to more and more and more. Hey, another person that's been a pain in the butt. Block on YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Let's step into another card. I don't know. I'm really feeling a pull to stay with animal cards at the moment. I think that there's such a strong... The other thing that I felt that was really strong at the moment is that we're going to start connecting to the fae folk, the elven folk, the in-between people, the little people, because they're in between the plant life and Gaia and humanity, and they have so much more. I'm going to do a big talk on that, actually. There's so much wisdom that I have to share about those beings too. So here we go. And we got this one last time, personal choice. We really, really are in a personal choice. This is like the card of you choose what animal you want to tap into. Here I am talking about the elfins and the fairies, right? And I don't even think there is an elfin and a fairy card here, because these are all specifically animals. So personal choice means that you tap into what you feel is right for you. And interesting enough that I was talking about the elven folks. So I really feel tapping into them, there is some incredible information of us being able to step into these other frequencies through them. And I've been given this information recently. So I'm going to do a talk on that as well. So that's another interesting topic to come up with too. Let's get into helping anxiety. Let's see what we can do to help anxiety. Success, helping anxiety. How can we help our own anxiety? Okay, so for helping anxiety, these are the cards that I got. I got success. So definitely just the fact that we that we say to ourselves, success is on the horizons. Start to focus on success is on the horizons. It's so close now. It's so close. If we start to focus on that instead of the predictions that other people are making for our reality. Past lives came out, so some of us might have anxiety about things that are coming up from past lives that we haven't quite cleared yet. So that clearing could be that you go into yourself and go, where's this anxiety coming up from? Why does it keep on coming up? I'm going to use my imagination to imagine a story of a past life, and see myself from this perspective, looking at that past life and why that happened from a higher perspective so that I can clear it. So that might help. And also the next one that we got was tuning in, right? Tuning into ourselves and doing that quiet, taking time for ourselves to really find out, who am I authentically? It's really interesting. When I started this, I was like saying, who am I authentically? And now I've got to the stage of doing something completely different. Who I choose who I choose to be. So I'm now making a conscious choice of choosing who I want to be. How do I want to come across in the world? Who do I really want to be? Do I want to be a powerful person? Do I want to help other people become more powerful within themselves? This is what I'm choosing to be. So you could sit to yourself and say, who do I choose to be? Do I want to be someone who connects to Gaia, connects to the earth, connects to my own gifts? Do I want to be telepathic? Do I want to be telekinetic? Do I want to have all these synchronicities and these beautiful stories to share with other people? Do I want to be able to see into new earth and walk in that space? There's so much that we can choose to be that's beyond the limitations of reality, right? And the next card I got was abundance. So we've got, believe it or not, 2 different decks with abundance. This is what's coming to us, guys. Like, we are so far superior to what they are limiting us with these silly holographic freaking things. You know, you're stepping into this holographic world and getting all excited because you're going into another world, right? It's not real. It's not even sustainable. You're sustaining their reality. Thus, by doing that, by stepping into their holographic world, you're actually sustaining their reality. You're not even helping yourself at all. You're locking yourself into a more and more limited state, where if you ignore that and say, I have the power within me to become and choose who I want to be, and I'm using my imagination for me now, for my authentic reality, and I'm going to step into that. And if I need to do the clearing, if I need to face my shadow self, if I need to get rid of past life anxieties, I'm going to do the work, because I'm taking my power back, taking the reins back, and I'm going to create the world that I really want to create. And that, my friends, is going to lead you to abundance, success and abundance. It's going to lead you to personal choice. These are where we're going, to your authentic self. Look at all these cards. I've only pulled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. And out of those 8 cards, we have authentically being you. Choose who you want to be. Abundance, success, abundance. The only cards that I have of lessons is past lives and tuning in. That's how close we are to this, guys. We are so close to stepping into our power. You know, sit in with some amazing music on, the music that you really think feels powerful. I listen to literally epic music where it's got that woo and then that fall and then the woo, and every time that really epic sound comes with my earphones on, I imagine myself being, you know, the instigator of my own reality. I'm the goddess of my world. You know, I am creator of everything, every experience, and I have the power to shift whatever. feel into what that feels like. Imagine yourself if right in front of you right now, a beautiful benevolent being walked out of a spacecraft. Use your imagination and the excitement of what that can feel like, and go, if I was that beautiful, benevolent being that walked out of that spacecraft, how would I feel? Would I feel, walking into this limited consciousness where they're trying to tell us that this is who you are, point A to point B, and you have to follow my rules and pay my taxes and pay my bills and do what I say? What would that powerful person do? He wouldn't even freaking look at that. That person wouldn't even, that benevolent being wouldn't even associate with it. It would just be like, well, it's beyond me. I'm far beyond that. Like, I can create the world that I want. I can step into my personal power and literally do whatever I wish. Also on my, I'll quickly read this out so you guys get a bearing on what I'm really talking about. Okay, I didn't actually say that there. Maybe I'll have to just quickly look it up on my website. I wrote the most amazing thing yesterday. It was so empowering. Channel messages. Let's go into this. What I asked was, why do we fear things? And the message that I got, this might help you guys, was, when it comes to fear, one is already residing in lack of control, lack of abundance, lack of confidence, lack of support, lack of love, lack of human contact, whatever it is, it's all lack. So then one needs to look at the word, lack, to find out what fear is truly about. So I looked up the word lack, because that's what my guides asked me to do. And the meaning was to be deficient of or missing, to be short of or have need of something, suffer from the absence of, right? So that means to understand fear is to know one's truth, that one is completely whole to begin with, but feels less than. Otherwise, they couldn't feel into the presence of lack itself. Now, just think about that. So that means to understand fear is to know one's truth, that one is completely whole, but feels less than. Otherwise, they couldn't feel into the presence of lack. What's that? You already know you are whole. Otherwise, you can't feel the lack of something, which manifests into fear, right? This in itself would mean that you already have the ability within you to know that you are worthy and able to have everything you've ever wanted and imagined in your life, because your imagination is you. But your mind has been programmed with a self-sabotaging story to feel you somehow don't deserve. So you don't support yourself or love yourself. So the cycle starts all over again, meaning that the original feelings of fear actually starts with the knowing that you are whole or loved to begin with. And that's what I mean by those benevolent beings. That if you imagine a benevolent being that stepped out of his spaceship and saw all that was going on planet Earth, and you thought to yourself, I could be that. If I could be that benevolent being, what would I do? You already know that that benevolent being comes from the whole of itself, that has all these amazing gifts, these abilities to be able to step out, these abilities to be able to be telekinetic, to be telepathic, to be able to step into connecting with Gaia, trusting that she's going to supply nutrients for you, food for you. She already does, right? That we're going to be guided into groups and these beautiful friendships that we're going to have. One person's going to have the ability to be able to, build stuff, build homes and stuff, or even search out and find caves or things like that. It's not that we're going to end up in a caveman kind of a scenario. That's a program, right? That's a program. We're beyond that. And I think a lot of people have this fear that if we go back to Gaia and living with Gaia, that we're going to end up in caveman days. It is a program, guys, to keep you locked into the scenario. It doesn't even freaking exist anymore because humanity is beyond, far beyond that. So just our imagination proves that. Yeah. Anyways, really cool talking, guys. I'm so excited about the future. Keep going, keep clearing, keep sitting still and figuring it out for yourself. Love you heaps. I'll say goodbye. And yeah, go on my site. There's a lot of 3-minute little mini videos that will really get you into the flavor of where we're going, into the new earth. I find them really important. If you feel like you're still stuck in the matrix in a big way, go on to my other series, Codes to a New Reality series. That is all to do with getting out of the matrix. And I was guided to do those a couple of years ago. Just had just had my own big blue dragonfly with me, gifted to you all. Beautiful. One big pond. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Sumac. Thank you so much, Matthew. Thank you for helping me out with those silly little, they're just bots, really. Yeah, my website is www.codestoanewreality.com, and my channel on my YouTube is, I've just changed it back to Bobbie the Messenger. So yeah, if you even just looked up Codes to New Reality on YouTube, I think it will come up. But yeah, so I have, you guys, half of you guys are on YouTube, half of them are on Facebook. So it all depends on who I'm connecting with here, because I'm restreaming this. So I'll just tell you both. I also have a Facebook as well, and that's Bobbie Richardson. I think it's just Bobbie Richardson, author, something like that. Thank you, Suzette. Yeah, love you guys heaps. Keep shining, keep shining, keep shining. Bye.